Hello, this is Professor Tiffany Vino. We've already spoken about organizational growth strategies, so the emphasis here in this video lecture is on two other broad categories of organizational strategies. These include stability and retrenchment. Your learning objectives for this lecture are to be able to differentiate between the major types of organizational strategies and to understand the situational applicability of each. First, let's review what a strategy is. It is about how an organization decides what to do and what not to do. As described previously, a key concept here is strategic positioning. That is, creating and preserving a unique and valuable position for the organization. Strategy also refers to an organization's patterns of activity or how it goes about accomplishing its goals. Stability strategies typically involve protecting and preserving the organization's position in the environment. This strategy is marked by consistency with the organization's prior size and scope of activities. Stability strategies are most viable when an organization needs to do one of the following things. It may need to consolidate gains or adjust after a period of intense growth or retrenchment. It may be in an organization that the organization is in a rapidly changing strategic environment, and it may be difficult to anticipate what will happen. The organization may want to protect a leadership position in a stable market or meet stable and continuous demands, or it may need to stabilize its revenue sources after a period of instability. There are three main types of stability strategies. The first is a status quo strategy. In a status quo strategy, an organization may choose to focus on operational excellence, including factors such as efficiency, effectiveness, and productivity. However, a status quo strategy does not mean withdrawing into a shell. It remains important for an organization to monitor its environment and its performance. This may also be a time to invest in future-oriented activities such as research and development or employee professional development. It is also important that an organization continuously advocate regarding its need for support even in a stability phase. The second kind of stability strategy is the incremental strategy. As Kearns in your supplementary readings notes, when the environment is changing too rapidly to be predictable, or you anticipate a change that will affect your organization in a significant kind of way, you may decide to base your strategy on very small, incremental steps rather than bold moves or no moves at all. If pursuing an incremental strategy, a few ongoing activities should be maintained. An organization should continue to gather strategic information about its environment on an ongoing basis. It should remain flexible as an organization, such as by limiting big investments in activities, otherwise known as huge sunk costs. And an organization should experiment actively and ensure that it has sufficient feedback loops to learn about how each of these experiments is going. The third kind of stability strategy is a defensive strategy. This is about buying time. This strategy is best pursued only on a short-term basis. In the long term, it could be a very disastrous approach. It's typically geared towards helping an organization survive a period of temporary environmental turbulence. A defensive strategy might help an organization avoid a need for retrenchment, which we will talk about later. When an organization is pursuing a defensive strategy, it may undertake actions such as increasing fees or workloads. It might freeze employee salaries, or it might seek more volunteers to replace paid employees. In the private sector, a defensive strategy can be recognized by its effort to maintain profitability in the face of brief economic downturns. For example, an organization might delay discretionary expenditures on items like maintenance of the infrastructure or research and development during a time of economic downturn or reduced profitability. This would allow the organization to show a profit even if it has lower revenues. And that kind of circumstance is typically only identified by insiders in the organization, so it's not necessarily known by all of the shareholders. Retrenchment strategies are about retreat, or stepping back, hopefully, one hopes, in order to come back stronger later. We see a lot of retrenchment in municipal governments in Michigan these days as they each face fiscal crises. Retrenchment strategies are most viable when an organization is in trouble. This specific strategy will vary according to an organization's confidence in its current portfolio of products and services. So, for example, an organization is more likely to pursue a divestment or liquidation strategy if it is not confident regarding its current portfolio of products and services. Turnaround strategies are strategies in which an organization is focused on reversing its fortunes when it is going through a period of difficulty. In a turnaround strategy, the organization preserves its mission and its current products or services. As Kearns in your supplementary readings notes, a turnaround strategy presumes that there is a core foundation within the organization that, although damaged, is still strong enough to build upon. Efforts in a turnaround strategy will focus on improving an organization's performance and efficiency. This might be achieved through several strategies or approaches. This might include cost reduction, trying to differentiate the organization's products and services more in the market in order to increase its competitiveness, perhaps to focus more on the organization's core mission, particularly if it's been distracted by side projects or other endeavors. And also, an organization that's going through a turnaround strategy will typically emphasize improvements in things like quality, convenience, accountability, speed or responsiveness of its services, or having better customer service. As Kearns notes, for a turnaround to work, an organization needs leadership either at the top or in key mid-managerial positions who have had specialized knowledge and experience in the organization's mission and in the people it serves. So typically, turnaround strategies actually are not all that successful when an outside party is hired in order to try to turn an organization around. It's much more likely to be successful if that leadership comes from within. Divestment may involve transferring a product or service to another organization, eliminating a product or service, or merging products and services. This might be considered because of a significant change in a community's needs or preferences, because of increasing organizational competition. Perhaps an organization has obsolete technology or facilities now. Maybe there's a change in government policy, or maybe there are substitute products that are now available. In conclusion, in this video we have discussed the nature of two kinds of strategies, stability and retrenchment. Now let's do a short review.